Kavita. Mr. Anirudh, it's already 4:31. Can we start now?
Yes, I'm sharing my screen.
Sure.
Just a second. Ketki, it seems there is a technical issue. You can start from your end.
Okay. Uh, Good evening, everybody. Uh, thank you so much, Central Books, for giving us this platform. Thank you to today's facilitator, Ms. Anupa, who has been here on a Saturday evening to talk about the library lesson plans. And we as librarians, we believe in empowering other librarians. So the whole goal is to empower other librarians and help them and grow them professionally. With that in mind, we organize various sessions like this, and we also have organized a librarian conference on the 20th of December at Shivnadar School, Gurgaon, on the 20th of December. So do register for the conference. We have the actual conference on the 20th of December, and there is a master class which will be facilitated by Ms. Hiru on the 19th of December. So do register yourself and be a part of the conference and get yourself empowered, and it's an opportunity to meet other librarians as well. We also have a lit fest of Read Bloom books coming up on the 6th of December. Email communications from RBB has been sent to various students, so please encourage your students to be there on the 6th of December. With that in mind, may I now ask Ms. Anupa to take over and share her expertise on lesson planning. So thank you so much. Once again, a big gratitude to Ms. Anupa. Over to you, Ms. Anupa.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Anupa Bhosle, and I've been working for past 18 years as an educator. Currently, I'm working with an IB school, and I'm working under the PYP program. Basically, since Ms. Ketke has already thanked so many people, I would like to thank all the participants who are here on Saturday evening. I know it's not very easy for everyone, but I saw some of you are still in school. Thank you to all those people who have come here. I hope the session is going to be helpful and there are takeaways for you. What I'm going to do in today's session is that I'm going to share a few practices that have really worked for me in the library where I'm working. Yep, so I'm just going to share my screen. Ms. Ketki, please let me know if you're able to see the screen.
Yes, Miss, we can share this.
You can see it, right? So let me just go on the slideshow. Okay, I hope everyone is able to see. So as I said, today's session is going to be about how you can plan effective and engaging library sessions, a few strategies that we are going to see together, how a similar objective can be used for different age groups is what I'm going to show you also. Before we move on, what I want you all to do is to think, why do you think library lessons are important? Why library lessons matter? Can I request you all to take a moment to think and share in the chat, why do you think library lessons are important?
Can you see the chat, Anupa?
Yes, I can. I have, in fact, I'm sharing. I don't know if everyone can see that.
Anupa, people have said that it's for building skill towards self-learning, for better planning, for effective reading, to promote values, to be focused, to make a mark in the library, to plan in prior and organize class effectively, to show library can also make a difference, to help students make use of library,
Okay.
foster effective knowledge to the students, promote reading. These are some of the responses that we have got in the chat
Yeah.
box so far.
Okay, thank you everyone for sharing your ideas why library lessons are important. Yes, I would like to sum up with what you all have said. Library lessons are important because it's not only focuses on what our students should learn, but how they should learn. Our lessons that are focused on promoting reading, where we are trying to empower students with different skills. Yes, I agree. Library lessons are important. What I want you all to do next is, I know this is what I think we all agree to develop literacy skills and critical thinking. Um, I know, can you all just pick up one word? There is a QR code that you can see on the screen. One word that describes an effective lesson. We can see the cloud growing up maybe once you start. Oops, sorry, I think I was too fast. Okay, I hope everybody was able to see the QR code. Let me go back. Okay, this is where the QR code is. If you could start scanning and just share one word that describes an effective lesson. Right now, what I'm trying to show you is a different ways how we engage our students in our library lessons. We use these different school tools when we plan our sessions. So Mentimeter is one of the tools that we use during our library lessons, where students can share their ideas together. Recently, we used this for our fourth and fifth graders. So one tool, if you can use it in your lessons, it'll make it more engaging and more interactive. Okay, I'm not sure if I can see. Miss Ketki, if you can see the.
Anupa, what happens is everyone is on their phone, so it's very difficult
Okay.
to use the QR code with the on the phone because they are on the phone.
Okay. Oh, so never mind, Miss Ketki and Miss Hero, we can skip this part. It's okay, even if the ideas that have
Do
been
you
shared
want
with
to
them.
ask them to write it in the chat box? They
Yeah,
can write it
they
in the
can
chat
do
box.
that. Yep. That's completely okay. We can move on with the session. It's completely.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is a tool that we all can use in our session when we are planning a session. Mentimeter works really well.
Yes. So
Yeah.
a few participants are saying it's engaging. So participants, you can put in your answers in the chat box one word that describes an effective lesson. engaging, interactive, innovative,
Yeah.
creative. These are some of the words that participants are putting in the chat box as application planned.
Yeah. Okay, I completely understand. If people are on phone, it's going to be more challenging. We can skip that. Thank you for sharing your ideas. Let's move on and let's find out how do we plan. So these are the key principles of planning an effective library lesson. A clear goal, a clear objective. Whenever you're planning a lesson, remember this is the foundation of your lesson. Any lesson that you plan, if you have a clear goal in your mind, if the students are aware the purpose of their learning, you have already managed to engage them. Whatever you have made, whether you are your goal is to teach them about book care, whether you want to teach them cataloging, whether you want to teach them how to whether it's a research skill and all, a clear goal in your mind will also help you to plan your lesson. This the maybe the how what kind of differentiation, the activities that you're going to plan, this all depends on a clear goal. So what I want to share are some of the lessons that I have already planned, and the things that works for me is this. So when I plan a lesson, author's purpose is one of the very important lessons that I try in the classrooms. And when you're teaching students to identify the author's purpose, this is basically, as I told you, the activities that you will see is based on the age group that you're dealing with. So if you have you're dealing with grade 1 and 2, if I don't know which library you all are working with, but if you have young learners, this is what you can do if it's a lesson focusing on identifying the author's purpose. How I start the lesson is with the simple pie chart that you can see over here, an apple pie picture that I start. A very interesting hook. Hook is always important whenever you're starting a lesson. Keep in mind, how you start a lesson will decide how engaged your audience is going to be, how engaged the learners are going to be. So when I did this lesson in grade 1 classroom, I just showed them the picture of this apple pie and I asked them, do you know what it is? They were like, oh miss, it's an apple pie, I love eating apple pie. The moment you have these kind of responses coming, you know that the students are already engaged. So think about a hook whenever you're starting a lesson. How are you going to grab that attention? So my first slide is always engaging. When I did my research lessons in earlier, I started with a picture of a scientist, an animated picture, asking them, who is he? What do you think he is? What is he wearing? Look at the picture carefully and think what this lesson is going to be about. So the first step is to plan out a hook for a lesson. With earlier, there are different ways. So when I start with this picture, the whole idea is to make them understand there are 3 reasons. There are many reasons, but at early age, you can just teach them the 3 different reasons that they can identify is to persuade, inform, or entertain. How will they remember these 3 terms? Is the help of the pie, the yummy pie that they all enjoy eating. So these are some techniques that you have to use if you want your students to learn or remember things. Okay, so the pie reminds them of an author. So this is a very, you can read the tagline where it says author's purpose is all about a pie. Similarly, the author's purpose can be made a little complex depending on the age group. If you go to higher grades, you not only teach them to identify, you go beyond the pie, not just persuasion, information, or entertainment. That there are many more reasons why authors write a particular book. You can ask them to now go further and find out whether the author is trying to explain you something. Is he trying to describe something through the text? Are there any feelings or opinions that are being shared? So here they go more in depth into the text. So this is something that can be planned to higher grades, but identifying the author's purpose with PI stays with a little younger age group. So this is one way of teaching author's purpose. I can also share something that has worked is understanding the genres and the text style. So when you are planning a lesson where you want your students to identify the different genres, with the little ones, what you can do is you can plan a simple sorting activities. For that, you basically need to know all the books. You need to be ready with your resources. When you go in the classroom, you need to have, okay, this is some of the pictures that I can show you from my lesson. So what I did was I had a collection of books with me where I asked the students to go through the books after making them understand, looking at the different features of fiction and non-fiction book. What I told them to go pick up a fiction and a non-fiction book from the pile and segregate them. So this is the sorting activity that we had planned for the little ones. This becomes very engaging because here they also have to share with, they buddy up and they share with their friends why do you think it's a fiction book or a non-fiction book. So we ask them to reason out. So this is something that we had planned after our lesson on fiction and non-fiction. When you go to higher grades, there are a lot of things that you can do is apart from identifying the genre, they can also look at the different elements of the books. So when you're planning an organizer, when there are any VTRs that have been planned, you can make sure that it provides them an opportunity where they can look at the different features. They can reason out what makes them say that this is a fantasy book, or whether it is a fiction book, or whether it is sci-fi, anything, but just ask them to look at the different elements. So this is how you can make the increase the complexity depending on the age group that you're catering to. Reading strategies, very interesting. I love these sessions on reading strategies. One of my favorite is how to make connections. This is the reading strategy that works really well with young group also, and basically when you go to higher grades also. So when you're teaching them reading strategies like making connection, there are many non-verbal ways of asking them to communicate when they're making connections. The three way of making connections to a text would be text to self, text to text, and text to world. Okay, these are strategies where they can, if you look at text to self, this is where they think about make connections with what they're reading. Maybe they make connection to the character, how the character is feeling at that point of time, maybe how the character is dealing with the situations, whether the problem that he's facing, how he is solving the problem. So there are a lot of connections that you will see that will come up when you teach them text to self, and this becomes very engaging. And there are many ways during a lesson also you can ask them to share their connection. How they can do is by different non-verbal communication. Basically what we ask them, it's a very simple thing. You can see me doing this. When I'm reading a book, I always ask them to show the sign to me in case if they're able to make any connection with the character, with the feelings or the problem. We don't want students to continuously interrupt our lessons while we are reading a book. What we want them to do is to be active listeners also at the same time, and also engage. So what we do is, if you are able to make connection to a book that I am reading at the moment, and you want to show your connection, not everybody can start sharing out. So what you can do is you can just show me the sign. Maybe at the end of the read aloud or the lesson, I can ask you what were the kind of connections that you have made with the book that I was reading. The easiest one is text to self. If you're trying this activity with grade 1, 2, 3, start with text to self. Introducing all three together becomes a little complex for them to understand. So one strategy one connection at a moment really works. So start with text to self. It's easy for young learners to make those connections. You can then move on to text to text. Text to text becomes very interesting with higher grades also. I'll show you how you can use the same strategy. This is where the students make connection with two books that they have read. Okay, I remember a child coming up and telling, Miss, I remember the first book that you've read. There was a similar problem that the character has faced, and now what you're reading. So I'm basically making connections with the two books. So there are a lot of connection when you read a book like, I'm not sure if you've read the book called K-Pop Tree that talks about deforestation. And the place where I live, there is a lot of deforestation happening around near the school campus. So the kids were were able to easily connect with the problem that was there, and they could say, Miss, I can make connections with what is happening, and that is why we have the challenges what we are facing is all something like this which connects them. So start with text to self. When it's with young learners, move on to text when you're teaching the same strategy with higher grades. This is something that you can also use. There are various games that you can play when you're teaching the strategy. Some of these resources I've also tried to put the VTRs, the link from where I've got these resources, a game that you can ask them to play after you've taught them how to make connections. There's a task card that is there. Yeah, but this requires you to be to be ready with all the resources. You need to have those dies and everything when you're going for the session. With me, it becomes little easy because I have few sessions in the library. I also go into the classroom, so we have resources available. It depends on where you are. So you can use some of these resources. In fact, now planning these lessons have become very easy with AI. Yes, earlier we had a lot of struggle. We had to think. Now, yes, you give up a simple idea. This is what your goal is. This is how you want to plan the lesson. Everything is easily available. In the beginning, when we started our journey as a librarian, we had a lot of challenges to think how we can teach this, but now I think it's going to be easy for all of us. Yeah. This is one example. When I said text-to-text connection with higher grades, this is what you can ask your students to do. You can ask them to compare themes. If they've read two books, they can make these kind of connections. Maybe you can ask them to think about the perspective, what point of view the story was being said, or maybe the context, the background when the story took place. This becomes a little challenging. So maybe you can identify those books first, recommend the readers to read those books, and maybe you can ask them to come up with these connections. Yeah, I always, when I'm planning out these lessons and when I'm executing these lessons, I make sure I tell the students why it is important for us to make these connections. The simple answer is good readers always make connections to understand the text better. Simply encourages students to read more. So you can try out some of these reading strategies in your classroom with any books that you have. There are many more reading strategies, but I've just covered making connections over here. One of the popular reading strategy that works really well is visualization. Also is something that you can do. There are a lot of complex reading strategies that you can also try, where you ask the students to analyze the text, critique the text. Depends on the age group that you're dealing with. You can choose the reading strategies accordingly. Yeah, that's okay. This is one of the example where we tried a text-to-text connection. So these were the novels that we read in the lower grade, and we read another book when the students moved to the higher grades. They were able to make these connections when students from grade 4 moved to grade 5. They were able to make connections with the book that they had read. So A Long Walk to Water is a very popular novel about, it's a true story about Mr. Salva and his struggle. So when we read this book in grade 4, and there were a lot of analysis that was being done by the students. So when we read the Esperanza Rising book in grade 5, I could see students making a lot of text-to-text connections with the characters, with the problems that they were facing. So the same strategy can be applied in different age groups also. Has anyone tried these activities in their classrooms, in their lessons? And if it's worked, this will also help us to know how, if they've planned it differently, how engaging it can be.
Hello.
I
Hi.
Hi, ma'am.
Yeah, so I have tried doing author studies and
Okay.
comparing the writing styles of two different authors, the themes and their experiences, and also marking the culmination. I also made them watch one of those movies. The books have been made into movies, so lovely connections we could make.
Okay, is that Dipti?
Yeah, Deepti.
Hi, Dipti.
Hi.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So, thank you, Dipti, for sharing. Yes, if
Hi.
you've not tried this activity before, please do try these reading strategies. They work really wonders.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. This is Veena.
Yes, Veena.
Yeah, even we do try like activities that the child has to speak about the author,
Mm-hmm.
their birth and their things, why did they start writing the books, the connection between the books and the author and to the student. And we do conduct activities like they have to write a story, means the like young authors. So this by this we will come to know how far the students are showing interest in reading and their level of understanding in reading everything.
Yeah.
Primary we conducted like designing a character. They have to draw a character from the story. This and, ignites the interest in reading the books for primary students like grade 3 and 4
Yeah.
and making bookmarks. So, and when I started this, when I joined this meeting, the first one you said, right, like sorting the book as per the genre. That is also very interesting. So we thought we'll do it in the next class.
They enjoy it. It's fun for them to
Yes,
go
yes.
around sorting
Um,
things, giving them a
Actually,
post-it to write on. It becomes very interesting.
exists. By this, they also come to know or the book comes under which genre. Even
Yes.
they also understand what is genre, what exactly it is. This is very interesting. Actually, I worked as a pre-primary teacher. There we used to do all sorting activities. This year I was into libraries.
Yeah. There are, in fact, many
So
fun ways of conducting these lessons in pre-primary, I would say. Even
yes,
if
yes,
you're planning a lesson on a book care, coming up with your own library bag, dumping things inside them, and then creating a story. I think teachers are storytellers. You can teach anything through stories. So,
for 1 and 2, I used to take stories
yeah,
so that they will focus on the story and the vocabulary skills. Then we ask them questions.
yeah. That's the right way of
Thank you.
engaging them. Asking question gives us an idea where our students are, what they have understood. Simple lessons, as I said, teaching book care through stories is also a very interesting way that I have learned over the years. This is not in my slides, but as I said, I think it would be a good um, to share this, something that's really worked. So what I do basically is I take my library bags. I have a library bag just like the way the students have. I have a name on it. So what I do is along with the books, I also dump my tiffin, bottles, everything inside, and I come up with a story like, oh, see what my mama has packed in my library bag. I have crayons in my bag. I have a water bottle in my bag. What if my water leaks? What if my food spills? What will happen to my book? So create your own story. How silly. Come up with some fun things. They really remember these stories. I've seen this teachers coming up and telling me, Miss Anupa, there are a lot of students who are coming up and telling me, oh, just like Miss Anupa's bag, I also carried water bottle in my bag. I'm not been carrying towards a book. So there are a lot of fun things that you can do in lower grades to teach them the importance of book caring. In fact, there are songs that you can teach them. Books are treasure. Come up with a treasure box and keep your books in. Tell them why books are treasure, why are they important, what they teach us. So the foundation is in the early years. As they go to higher grades, they remember all these things. I still have my students from higher grades coming up and asking me about my library bag, about the book hospital that we have in the school. So please do try these ideas. They're very engaging and they leave a mark in your students' mind. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Let's see what. Okay, I think someone is trying to. Yeah.
Miss Charu, I recommend not to. Thank you.
Okay, this is one session where we plan book review and book talks. Basically, we try book reviews with grade 1 and 2, where our students are look at the books. They share their opinions about how they think the book is, whether they like the author's writing, what do they like about the story. A simple organizer like this can also help them share their opinions about the book that they're reading. Provide them the simple sentence starters in your lesson so it becomes more easy for them to respond to. In fact, we also plan different events also where we ask them to review the books that have been recently added to our collection. With these organizers also help them to, we tell them that this is where there's a excitometer. You can also show us how excited you are about reading this book and why did you like this particular book. So book review in early years, grade 1 to young learners, this is the best way of asking them to share the opinion. What you can do with the higher grades is to plan out a book talk. Okay, what I've done here is I've attached different videos that will also help you to learn. These are the resources that are easily available. You can ask them to share, you can plan out book talks where the students can share what they feel about a particular book through this format where they plan out how they can hook the audience, because here the job is to recommend book to someone. Okay, the book talk, basically they try to persuade someone to read the book that they were interested in. So these are some of the criterias that we ask them to keep in mind and choose a book that interests them and share that with their classmates. So you can plan out some of these engagements in your classroom. How I did in my lesson, since we only have one lesson and it's very difficult to ask for another lesson for the same class because so many lessons that you go on. I would recommend you to take a particular series in the classroom in case you're going in the class or in the library. Choose one series where the students get a chance to read that whole series together and allot each one of them. So we have 20 students in class, so it becomes easy for us. I'm sure it becomes a little difficult if we have more numbers of students in the classroom. We give each one of them gets 5 minutes to share about the book. So we tell them your goal today is to recommend someone a particular book and persuade them to read the book that you like reading. Keeping in mind these factors, there is this very interesting video. I wouldn't play it. I'm not going to play it now, but you can find out how this is called a heat strategy. When you are planning a book talk, you can use this strategy. In fact, you can play this video for our students when you are in the classroom. That helps them to know how book talks are supposed to be planned, how they can persuade someone else to read the book that interests them. Okay, that's I think I have also shared, yeah, this is the lesson how we plan. Okay, the series that I was talking about was this. This is a lesson that I had planned in grade 3. I wanted them to read this whole series. So each one of them, it's not practically possible for them to read the whole book. So now there is a lot of thinking that goes in this. Then how do I present this to my class? How can I persuade them to read this book? So basically, this is where you can talk about the importance of blurb. You can read the blurb, try and find out what the book is about, skim through the books, find out different ways of persuading someone else to read the book that interests you. So plan out these activities. It becomes really interesting. Yeah, so let me move on to the, okay, analyzing the poems is also something very interesting that we do in the, so what we plan is a party, poetry party, that I'll just show you how we do it. Okay. Okay. So what you can see over here is this a picture from my slide which says poetry party in the Hop. Hop is nothing but the library that I work in. It stands for Heart of Primary. In fact, there's a very interesting story behind the name of the renaming of the place, the library where I work in. This was the name that was suggested by our students. This is where we gave them an agency where they can share ideas if when we plan to rename our school library. So what we do is when we analyze, we plan out a lesson. Think, as I said, hook plays a very important role. Coming up with such catchy titles really make them curious. They want to know what is the lesson going to be all about. Is there going to be a party? What kind of party can we have with poetry? So this is a lesson where we had different poems from different poets. We made sure that everybody looks at the different features, the elements of the story. It can become more complex when you ask them to compare the themes, look at the mood and the tone, language that has been used, the word choice, were basically the figurative language that has been used, the structure, how the poem has been. How the poem, the structure of the poem is something very important that you can ask them to analyze, depending on the age group that you're dealing with. Yeah. Okay. Okay, this is something very interesting that I love doing. Research skill. Yeah, very important. I said in the beginning, for the library lessons, what they're learning, what is more important is how they learn. So integration of the school in skills in our library lessons plays very important role. In a read aloud session, what you're trying to do is to build their thinking skills. Research skills are also very important in our library lessons. This is what I can show you. As I said, I think this is a picture that I showed you earlier also. We started with distinguishing between fiction and non-fiction book. We also make sure that there is a research cycle, a model. So this year what we did was we introduced a research cycle for little ones. And this is Super 3. There are many research cycles available, but you need to choose that works depending on the age group that you're catering to. I don't know if you have ever used this research cycle. It's called Super 3. It's a simpler version of Big 6. It clearly states how a research cycle should look like. So we basically, when we introduce the cycle to them, the easy way for us was to make them learn the song. So there is a song that goes with this research cycle, and it goes there's a very popular rhyme. My name, the dog called Bingo, and there's a song that goes with Super 3. So now everyone in the early years, they know that how research cycle works. So there's a first step is when they have to plan the resource, they have to plan the research, then comes the do part, and then the review part. So in fact, we taught them this the research cycle in form of a story. So this is the, okay, I mean, just see where the picture is. Okay. So how we introduced this cycle to them was through a story. This is a story that we created. There's a story about this bear who is looking for a food. As it's going to be winter, he's soon going to hibernate. He needs food, but he does not know where the food is available. So what they do is, so we made up a story that there is a friend who teaches him a research cycle, and that helps him to find the answer to the question where he can find food. So this is how the Super 3 cycle looks like. And the song I was talking to was this, which says, you can sing in the tune of Bingo. And if you look at this superhero over here, as I said, the apple pie reminds them of author's purpose. The superhero's picture reminds them of Super 3. So think about the ways the student can remember things that you teach them. In fact, I can show you after they learn this song, here is the process I can use, and its name is Super 3O. We went singing around the song, and in fact, we played a game called I Spy. You can see a display over there, display board, where you can see we have put the Super 3 model, the research model, and the learners went around looking for this model. So when they're able to identify, so they remember also. We sang along together, and we stopped. I asked them to stop if they see somewhere the Super 3 board. This is where you can see the questions that were being put up by different grades. And now this whole board is, it's a live board where you can see students coming up, looking at the questions and also the research journey. The teachers are putting up the QR codes where you can scan and you can see the research journey where the students are presenting the information, they're reviewing their work, and it's just magical. I never thought research will be so easy in early years, but some of these research models really work well. Um, Please do try these research models in your with the young learners. So this is Super 3. And higher grades, what you can, okay, there's very interesting story about this badge, which I'll just share with you. So as I said, Super 3 is a simpler version of Big 6. Big 6 is a research model that you can use in higher grades, and which lays down the research in 6 simple steps. Even if you go on the website, you will find how the cycle can. There are many cycles available, but this is something that really worked well for us. We've been using this from past 3 or 4 years, which lays down the research into 6 simple steps. You know, they remember, they tell each other, oh, I think we've missed the step 2. Let's go back and let's finish that. So please do try these. These are tried and tested lessons, which we have really worked for us. And what we do is after they complete the Big 6, the research, we also have come up with something called a badge, which will encourage them. So every class gets a badge after they complete the research cycle. I can in fact show you a lesson that we had recently planned for them was this. We have something called a citation squad. These are group members who go around and make sure that every research writing piece, they have a citation. So after a citation lesson, we identify the friends who can help us to make sure that everybody in the class is citing the source. So these are some fun ways of teaching them how to cite a source. And now they very proudly flaunt their citation squad. So there are 5 members in each class, and they make sure that everybody cites the source. You know, these are the badges that so there are different ways of doing it. Not everybody will be able to get those badges. So even if you get a print of this and put it up on the glass that you can see over here, for little ones, what we did was instead of giving them badges, we told them we're going to put a badge outside your glass to show people that you are spider experts. So in case if they have chosen a topic as a class, as a spider or a butterfly, any topic that they're interested in, we are providing them a badge. Instead of using the word junior researcher, we write there as a spider expert, a butterfly expert, a plant expert, so they know that there are people who will know that they are the experts and they can come in and ask questions. So this was one of the citation activity that we did, where I just made up a story that there is a task that has been given to me. I have to complete the task, but I don't have time. Can you all help me with this picture? Since I had to come to your class, I was not able to do it. So they very happily, they all started drawing and they completed the work. And at the end, what I did was I wrote my name. And I started pasting all their work, and I said, okay, thank you so much for doing the work, and this is my work. The moment I used the word, it's my work, everybody started responding, Ms. Anupa, this is not fair, this is not your work, this is our work, you should acknowledge this for the work that we have done. And those are the kind of conversation we had in the classroom, and that's how we unpack the word citation in the classroom. This is how exactly the authors feel when you submit a work and you don't say that it is you've collected this information using the book. So what I've asked them to do is to put this posters in the classroom, outside the classroom, as a reminder, so that in case if somebody forgets to cite a source, they can use these displays can be a good reminder for them. Yeah, and of course the citation squad is doing wonders now. They're going around and they're making sure that everybody is citing the source. Simple ways of encouraging academic integrity. And yes, students are the best one you can take help from. Okay, this is one good example. This is a session that we planned for our teachers on the research skills. So what basically you all can do, this was a session that I conducted with my colleague Ms. Sushma, I'm not sure if she's there for the session. So this session we conducted for the teachers recently, and what we did was we taught research skills in form of a game. I'm just going to show you so that you get an idea how you can plan these engagements in your classroom. Let me just try this if I can take you. Okay. Okay, what we did was we turned our research into different levels. So we asked them to form groups, and we planned out different levels where we taught them different challenges. There were different challenges that they were supposed to complete. So there was this challenge for level 1. Once they complete the challenge, the questions all over there are related to research. So once they complete this challenge, they move on to level 2, where we planned up the challenge was to use the CRAP strategy. CRAP strategy is a strategy that we use to evaluate a website. So if you want to teach your students how to evaluate a website, CRAP strategy really works wonder. And planning a session in a fun way like this becomes more engaging. So this is something that where they had to evaluate different website applying the CRAP strategy. Here, the challenge too for the teachers was where they had to identify different types of source. So when we planned this activity, we made it simpler so that these teachers can also use this in their classroom. There was this level 3, which gave them understanding about how Big Six Cycle works. And at the end, we also had badges for the teachers. We said, this is how you can also do it in your classroom. But remember, planning out these sessions takes a lot of time. You need to pre-plan your things. Once you plan your resources and your lesson, you can use it over the years. But yes, it requires you to give that dedicated time. They also, after the research lesson, we also had a Kahoot quiz for them, just to make sure that everybody understand what these strategies are, and whether to check. And this similarly, this is what we do in our classroom. We have Kahoot quiz where we get a chance to see individual response, just to know where the learners are, whether everyone has understood what you're trying to teach them. That takes care of our Alice in Wonderland. And there are a few pictures that I can show from our lessons. Yeah. Okay. Not all lessons have to be on read aloud. You don't have to do that. So plan something more engaging. There are different tools that you can use. Canva is one such platform that you can use to create more engaging lesson. So very simple story that we enacted. So yes, that requires a dedicated team. You need to have a good team members who can enact the story when you are reading it out to them, having those interactions with the students. So this is a very popular story written by Erica, the Hungry Caterpillar. So we basically enacted the story where we ensured a learning objective was to make the student understand the healthy eating habits. So this is one of the session that we had planned. The next picture that you can see is a puppet show that we had planned for our students for Diwali. Instead of reading a book, we thought it would be very interesting to engage the students with through a puppet show. And yes, they really enjoyed the different experiences that they have through puppet shows or role plays. They stay with them forever. They remember things. And in fact, when we do this, we also tell them this is going to help them to publish their piece. So when they are thinking about different ways of presenting or sharing their knowledge, these are some of the ways that they can use. Instead of just coming up with a slideshows, they can use these techniques and share their learnings with their teachers, with us. The reason why we model it for them is this, so they also know that there are ways of sharing, saying stories or sharing the knowledge. Okay, let me just see what X I have with me. Yeah, you can see me here. This is a very beautiful space that we have in our library. It's called the amphitheater. This is where most of our read aloud session takes place. The picture that you can see over here is If you know the story, when the tiger comes for a tea, so you can see what we did was we planned out, we came up with a photo booth where the students can come and click picture after the read aloud. We had this. So it becomes very, you can see the secondary students also were interested in looking at the picture. So this kind of display, it's always catchy. They're curious to know what is happening inside. They would like to join for a read aloud. So think about these different fun ways of engaging learners. This is how you will grab their attention. But yes, you need a good team for that. Not easy. Pre-planning is the core of success. If you want to have your lessons, if you want your lessons to be successful, you need to plan this lessons beforehand. Okay. So after the read aloud, the students were going outside the library for a picture. Yeah, these are Diwali things. Here, it's not just the sorting what they're doing. They are also telling us what they have seen in the book. So this is basically what the activity is happening over here. This is the Diwali Act read aloud. Okay, you can see the box over here. This is the treasure box that I go around with. So every year I ask the students to decorate. So the moment they see me with the treasure box, they'll be very curious to know what is inside my box. Which book am I reading to another class? So they know books are treasure, and Miss Anupa goes around with a treasure box with her books in. So I start with, so I hide the box and I ask them, now you have to guess what's there in my treasure box today. So maybe a picture behind can also give them an idea. Miss, I think you're going to read a book on Diwali, or if it's a Halloween book, maybe some pictures on the slide that helps them to make connection, to make them think. You can plan about it. Okay. Some engagements that we had planned after the read aloud. So, yeah, but you can see that requires us to be ready with the resources. Yeah, if you have classes coming back to back, it becomes a little difficult. I understand, but yeah, these are some fun experiences that stays with our students. Okay, so I hope everybody knows this book, a very good book for making predictions. So after we did, the focus was on teaching them how to make predictions. We taught after the lesson, what we had with us was the photo booth. They were also engaged. So these are some of the resources that we use over the years. It's not that one time, but they've been used for many other lessons also. So where they come and they click pictures after, so the plan, when we plan the activity, there are many VTRs that we use to understand if they have really understood what the lesson objective was. And just to make it more fun, we have all these displays outside our library. Okay, how you can plan your lesson. There are many ways, there are many organizers available. On weekly basis, you can plan your lessons like this, where you can state down the clear objective, the activities that you want to do with that particular objective, the resources that you need, and how are you going to assess your students' understanding or learning. So plan out this. It's very important at the end when you have to provide evidence of your library lessons, what you do. You have a clear map, you have an evidence to share that, yes, this is what I had done in the library lesson. These were the objective, these were the activities that I had conducted. And this is not only just for evidence purpose, but also this kind of documentation helps you when you're doing the same lessons for next year. You just have to go back to your documents and just see how you had planned, what are the resources that you had used. And yes, of course, it helps the others who are going to come in your place and work. And yeah, so yeah, this is very important. So remember, if you're planning any library lessons, have a proper document where you know what you are going to do and how you're going to do it. Okay, some of these strategies that we use, as I told you, these are some of the strategies that make sure that the students are engaged throughout the library lessons. As I spoke about the Just Like Me sign, or maybe the connection loop. There are different ways you can do. Maybe you can ask the students to give 2 thumbs up or crossed arm if they're making connections. These are some of the ways that you can engage them. After the end of every read aloud, this is something that we do. This is a foundation where they understand it's very important for us to appreciate someone. So there's a foundation for your citation lesson. Now I'm making connections to those hearts that the students were giving after our read aloud session. I asked them, do you guys remember what we did after our read aloud session? Obviously there'll be some who will be blank, someone who will, yes, miss, we remember we used to give a heart to the author. And the moment you find one person responding, it's easy for you to make connection. And this is exactly what you're doing now when you're citing a source. You're appreciating an author for the hard work, the information that he has collected. When you write a citation, you're not doing nothing but you're saying thank you or appreciating the author. So the simple ways that you can ask the students to learn, these are some of the ways that we use in the classroom when we're teaching citation, or when we want our students to respond to a particular strategy. Okay. What I've done here, I've added names of few. You can see the front cover of the books that have lesson plans, which you can use. These are treasure. You can have this in your library collection. Most of the picture books that we have been using in our lessons are all being listed down by these amazing authors. The plans that you can use. Yes, but what works for you, that is what you'll have to keep trying. There are beautiful plans in these books, but something that is doable for you, please choose that and apply that. So if you want, you can take pictures of this, some books that we are already using for our lessons. Okay, the template that you can use, this is the last thing that I have on my slides. Some of the lesson plans that you can do with the help of these template that gives you an idea of the clear objective, the activities that you want to do in the lesson, the materials that you can use. Some notes at the end will help you to remember how the lesson went, what was something that you would like to work on. So there are many templates easily available online. Please do make use of those lesson planning templates that will help you. At the end of the lessons, we sometimes use this 2 stars and a wish to give feed forward to our students also on their learning, on the reflection that they have come up with. This is a strategy. It's called I do, we do, you do. This is a strategy that we use basically in our research lessons now that we are conducting, where I model it for them how a research cycle should be used. What are they supposed to do when they are on planning step? What they do when they are on the do step and the review step. So you model it for them. Then what you do, this model is where you do it together with them. You ask them to work together, maybe in a group, and you support them as a teacher works with a student. And the next is you do, when you expect the students to do the same thing independently without a teacher support. So yes, it requires you to be with them. Yeah. That's the end. I think Miss Ketki.
Yes, Miss Anupa, thank you so much. Uh, Request participants, so there will be a feedback form that will be given. Please fill up the feedback form so that you can get your certificates. But before that, are there any questions? So there were a couple of questions, Miss Anupa.
Okay.
I'm just going to read that for you. There were 1 or 2 questions. People were asking about, how does this work for a class of where the strength is 35 students. So that was one question, and people also wanted to know about strategies for the middle school.
Okay, some of the reading strategies that I've shared with you all can be used in all the grades. They are not age specific strategies like making connections, maybe it's inferencing, maybe it's summarizing. This was just one example, but yes, they're not age specific. A lesson that is planned for author's purpose can be done across the grades. It is not age specific. It's just that how the complexity differs. So depending on the age group, you have to make it a little challenging for them. And yeah, so if you look at the author's purpose, I started with the three purpose, and then we made it a little complex. That was the whole idea of sharing. If you look at this example of making connection, was also, these are novels, these are not picture books, but the same strategies can be applied across the grade.
Cool. Mr. Anirudh, is there a feedback form link that you have so that we can ask participant to send it? And a request from the central books is please fill the form properly, because they are not able to get get your details properly. So request participants to fill your details correctly. Mr. Anirudh, I request your help in the feedback
Yes,
form link.
Ketki, there is a pop-up on their screens. We are
Yeah,
asking
we
for
got it.
today.
Yeah, we got it already.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Please
Few
fill that
have
form.
not got it, I think.
I'm sharing that in the chat.
All right. Okay. Please share it on the chat.
Ms. Ketki, are there any other questions that or have I answered? I'm not sure.
No. There are no more questions for you, but they have a feedback for you that, they are thanking you. They are saying that the
Yeah.
session was creative and it was very interesting. Yes, indeed, it was a very an interesting session. There is a question from Miss Veena Kumari. Miss Veena, can you unmute yourself and ask your question, because apparently I am not able to figure out your question. Please share the PPT.
Yes, definitely. I will. Yes, these are resources that are easily available. I've just what I've done is I've collated everything together, but
Okay.
please be free to use. Yep.
All right. I think Miss Anupa, Miss Veena had a question about, can we use these strategies where the number of students are more, like 35 plus? So what are your recommendations for that?
I think these strategies can be used with any number of kids. Maybe it'll be little challenging than what we because the number of students that we have in our classroom are not more than 20. A little challenging, but I think it's achievable. Just give a try. Just give a try, I would suggest. It's worth it.
Absolutely. Maybe putting them into different more groups is
Yeah.
something that you can try. So making them into groups is something I have.
Hello. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Anubhav, ma'am, I'm a CBSE school librarian. I want the library lesson plan may be possible that.
These are the lesson plans that have been given. You can customize it. I mean, these are generic lesson plans.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there are many more. These are few examples, and these are something that I've just, as Ms. Ketki said, these are general plan, but yes, you can customize according to the age group and your students' needs.
Yeah. From the grade KG till grade 12, ma'am, we will as per norms, we will make it. Yeah, as per customized, we will make it. Yes, ma'am.
Anupama, I have one question.
Yes.
Actually, see, we all plan lesson the activities and all in library. As every school have weekly one period library period. Even see, I'm also like from many years. I want to know any special strategies we have or techniques. See, we conduct activities and one period only 40 minutes doing activities, issue returns. This all managing. I also still see after 20 years also still I face issues with them.
I know it's not easy. It's not easy. That is the reason why I said you need to have a good team. So,
Yeah.
so not everyone can do everything. So if there's
Yes.
only one librarian doing all the tasks, it is not easy. But we have a good team that takes care of issue return. There are friends, the team members who plan the different engagements, the photo booth and everything that you saw. This is only possible because we have a group of people who are working in the library, and that's why it's possible. But yes, even if you skip out those plans, even if you only focus on the objective and try to do that is also, I think, more than enough.
Because see, other things I'm okay to manage. Okay, I have a good partner. But thing is, like in 40 minutes, reading or doing that story, and then last 10 minutes issue returns. Because that 40 minutes is really, it's a difficult to finish or do things. Sometimes it drags for 2 periods. It's like quite difficult facing still. So any other techniques or any other strategies do you follow?
You know what? I have started going in the classrooms also now. So just
Oh,
make sure if I have a 40 minutes lesson, I request the teachers to give me that lesson to complete to achieve the objective that they want me to achieve. Because if I add check-in, check-out, so we have a dedicated library lesson only for these, not for check-in, check-out. They have another time also. I don't know if that works with the other schools also, because there are a lot of I think different ways of conducting library lessons, you know. For me,
yeah.
since we have a dedicated time for check-in, check-out, I don't really face this issue. I have that whole 40 minutes for the session. But yes, I know
Okay.
it is difficult. It is
Yeah.
difficult. Yeah, it's not easy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful session, Anupam.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just helping. I hope it helps.
It
Yes,
did,
yes.
it did.
Yeah.
We have, I think, Miss Kavita Yadav was trying to raise her hand for quite some time. So I think we can take one or two questions more and then we will wrap up because it's already 5:40. Miss Kavita, do you have a question? Because I can see your hand is raised for quite some time. All right. Central Books is already, yes,
Yes,
yes.
ma'am. My question is, see, I'm taking the senior classes, so can I give this as, service opportunity in CAS or community engagement in CP program to my students so that, they can teach the younger students effectively the habit of book reading and involving in it. Do you have any strategy or any interesting idea?
You know, we right now have our secondary students coming in the library for doing read alouds. In fact, we have a newspaper that has been published through the library. And so the secondary students in the CAS activity have chosen to help these little ones to design the newspaper. So there are a lot of things that you can ask them to be part of, you know. If in some of these kids you only have, they've definitely been with you, they know these are some of the strategies that they have already used. It becomes really easy and they really like it. Now when we see our 9th graders and 10th graders coming down and interested in reading a book to our students, it is so enriching to see, and you feel so good that yes, they remember what we have taught them and they want to do it with the other younger ones. Yeah, it does work.
Uh, no, ma'am,
So
like
finding
my
dedicated time becomes
students.
a little challenging. I know, to coordinate
I know
us.
that's
Yeah.
that's
So
students with the students. And another thing, ma'am, like these activities with involvement of library, my students are doing it during library week, as well as designing bookmarks or reading the stories for them. They've been doing it, but a book designing a book cover of your story. But I want to know some more ideas where I can involve them. If you're using some of them, please share. That's my request to you.
I'll definitely. But right now, what we are
I've
doing is
shared my email ID to you, ma'am, and very effective way you've been doing it. I've put my email ID in the chat box, and I really appreciate whenever you are having more sessions, please do inform us.
thank you so much, Ms. Kavita. Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
yeah.
Okay. So Thank you so much, Miss Anupa. That was indeed a lovely session. Indeed, we are getting a lot of positive feedback for your. And once again, gratitude and thank you to all the participants for being here on a Saturday evening. Request participants to fill up your form properly so that you get your certificates. And indeed, it was a great session, Miss Anupa. There was a lot of takeaways for us as well.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you so much. And
Yes, ma'am.
thank you,
Thank you
Central
so
Book,
much.
for organizing this. So we have our next session on next Saturday. So please stay tuned to know more about it.
Thank you.
Did you
Thank you
send the,
so much.
did you send the, hello? Did you send
Thank
the
you, Ketkiji. Thank you, Anupama.
Thank you.
Thank you. So participants, if you have filled up the form, you can log off now. Thank you.
Where is the feedback form? Hello.
So hi Pramod, it is in the chat. It is in the
It
chat.
is in the chat. It is in the chat.
Okay. Thank you very much.